Good morning, friends. How are you doing? I am not posting videos anymore because I had a job, basically. There are multiple reasons, some of which are better than others, but the biggest reason is that I had to spend the last 5 months editing for this seed documentary that I've been working on, and today's my last day of editing. So I'm going to start posting videos very soon, in about 2 weeks. I'm starting a class. It's an online class called Digital Storytelling on TikTok. I'm going to have a handful of students, and we're going to make films together, and I'll be posting them on this channel. So I will get back to it, I promise. I felt like I've let you all down because I stopped posting, but I had to, because of my work responsibilities and my mental health. But I'll be back soon, I promise. Good morning, Katie. Good morning, Bianca. Welcome to this little space we have together. So, we're going to spend the next half hour or so saying some sacred words. And why are the words sacred? Well, I don't know. They're sacred because they've been said in a sacred manner for hundreds, thousands of years. Right? They're old. They're old and they're often repeated. And the act of repetition itself gives them their strength. And their holiness. I don't know. I don't like to use that word because I don't think it is properly defined. I don't think it means the same thing to everyone that says it. But nonetheless, we're going to say some sacred words. These words are from the book of Deuteronomy, and they were first written down around 2,600 years ago. And they go like this. Shema Yisrael Asher Eloheinu Yahweh Echad. ואהבת את ענת אלוהיך ובכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולכתך בדרך ובשכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאוד על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך וחיה כי הביאך יהוה אלוהיך אל הארץ אשר נשבע לאבותיך, לאברהם ליצחק וליעקב, לתת לך ערים גדולות וטובות אשר לא בנית, ובתים מלאים כל טובה אשר לא מילאת, ובורות הטובים אשר לא עשת, כרמים וזיתים אשר לא נתת, והלכת ושבת. הישמר לך פן תשכח את יהוה אשר תישעך, מארץ מצרים מבית עבדים. Listen, Israel, listen, you who struggles with God. Yahweh, Eloheinu, Asher Echad are one. All of these names are one. And you shall learn these words, and you shall recite them when you are out on the road, and when you are at home, and you shall teach them to your children. And you shall say them when you wake up in the morning, and when you go to bed at night. You shall inscribe them as a symbol on your hand, and place them as a sign on your forehead, and inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Copy me, the prayer says. The prayer says copy me, so I copy it. And that's what brings us here today. A repetition of these very old words. So now we will travel back even further. So here's a little book called Stories of Ancient Canaan. So that was a prayer. It's a prayer of ancient Canaan, but not quite as ancient as these stories. Because by the time that prayer was written, the land was no longer called Canaan, it was called Judah and Israel. But before it was called Judah and Israel, there were many cities that dotted the landscape, and one of them was named Ugarit, in what is modern-day Syria on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. And in the city of Ugarit, there was a scribe named Ilimiku. And Ilimiku wrote down this old epic story about Baal, the king of the gods, and El, the king he supplanted, and Asherah, the queen he supplanted, and Anat, his sister, who resurrected him. And we've been going through this story. How many of you have heard me read some portion of this story before? How many of you are here from past streams? I know a handful of you. So where we left off, Baal had just completed his house. He says, I am the king. I am king on the mountain. And what happens next? Well, there's a battle with a sea serpent. That is what happens next. It goes like this. When you killed Lotan, the fleeing serpent, finished off the twisting serpent, the seven-headed monster, the heavens withered and droops like folds in your robes. Now you will surely descend into the throat of El's son Death, into the watery depths of El's darling, the hero. The gods left. They did not turn back. They headed towards Baal on the heights of Zaphon. Then Gapin and Ugar spoke. Message of El's son Death, the word of El's darling, the hero. My appetite is like that of a lioness, or the desire of a dolphin in the sea. My pool seizes wild oxen, my well grabs the deer. When I have the appetite for an ass, I eat it with both my hands. One lip of the earth, one lip to the heavens, he will stretch his tongue to the stars. Baal must enter inside him. He must go down into his mouth, like an olive cake the earth produces, the fruit of the trees. So, if you remember earlier in the story, there's another serpent that Baal fights, the Lord of the Sea. And at the end of that battle, Baal drinks the serpent. And at the beginning of this battle, Baal must enter inside him. He must go down into his mouth, like an olive cake, the earth's produce, the fruit of trees. Baal the conqueror became afraid. The rider on the clouds was terrified. Leave me, speak to El's son Death. Repeat to El's darling the hero. Message of Baal the conqueror. The word of the conqueror of warriors. Hail, El's son Death, I am your servant. I am yours forever. They left. They did not turn back. And they headed towards El's son Death. In the midst of his city, the swamp, Muck, his royal house, Phlegm, the land of his inheritance, they raised their voices and shouted, Message of Baal the conqueror. The word of the conqueror of warriors. Hail, El's son Death. I am your servant. I am yours forever. El's son Death was glad. We'll leave it at there. But Baal is afraid. He's afraid to go down into the land of death. He's afraid of what he will find. Tomorrow, we will find out what he will find. Roxy, the book is not backwards. It's just that the... excuse me. The camera is flipped. For whatever reason. I don't know why TikTok automatically flips the camera, but I would have to tell it to flip it back, and frankly, I'm just too lazy. So, what is next? Next, we will say arati. Next, I'm going to get a drink of water. Water's good. Helps me speak. So. We're going to say a prayer now. It goes by the name Arati. And the word Arati means flame in Sanskrit. It goes like this. Jaya Jayarati Vina Vinayaka Vina Vinayaka Shri Ganesha Jaya Jayarati Subramanya Subramanya Kartikeya Jaya Jayarati Venugopala Venugopala Venuola Papa Vidura Navanita Chora Jaya Jayarati Venkanta Ramana Venkanta Ramana Sankata Harana Sita Rama Radhe Shama Jaya Jayarati Gauri Manohara Gauri Manohara Bhavani Sankara Samba Sadashiva Uma Maheshwara Jaya Jayarati Rajarajeshwari Rajarajeshwari Tripura Sundari Mahalakshmi Mahasaraswati Mahakali Mahashakti Jaya Jayarati Anjaneya Anjaneya Hanumanta Jaya Jayarati Datachaya Datachaya Trimutri Avatara Jaya Jayarati Adityaya Adityaya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarati Sanistaraya Sanistaraya Bhaskaraya Jaya Jayarati Sankarachaya Sankarachaya Advaita Gurave Jaya Jayarati Sadgurunata Sadgurunata Shivananda Jaya Jayarati Vishnudevananda 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 Jaya Jayarati Agastya Munaye Agastya Munaye Shriyama Priyaye Jaya Jayarati Ayapa Samine Ayapa Samine Dharma Shastave Jaya Jayarati Jesus Gurave Moses Gurave Buddha Gurave Jaya Jayarati Muhammad Gurave Guru Nanak Gurave Samastya Gurupo Namaha Jaya Jayarati Venugopala. The prayer is called Arati, which means light in Sanskrit. Natacha suyobati natanjakaratam nima vidyobati kutoyamagni twameva bantamidvanti sarvam tasya pasya samidam vivanti om gange kayamune kaiva kovari saraswati narmade sri kaveri namastitam namo namaha. Twameva mata Chapita Twameva Twameva Bandusha Saka Twameva Twameva Vidya Travinam Twameva Twameva Sarvam Mama Deva Deva Kayena Vacha Manasendriyarva Budyat manavad prakrite sabavad. Karomiat yad mangalam parasmahi. Narayanahi tisarmar prayami. Sarvajamam pravichayam amikam sarvanambraja. Aham sva sarva papayo mukshayami masucha. Whatever actions I perform with my body, speech, mind, senses, my nature, my intellect, or my emotions, all these, I dedicate to you. Thank you for being here. So, now we will say Kaddish. Kaddish for all those people who died yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that, and the year before that, and the year before that, and the century before that, and the century before that, and the millennium before that, and the millennium before that. For 3.8 billion years, our ancestors have been living and dying. And we can say Kaddish for all of them, for every creature, every living form that has ever suffered. And we can remind ourselves that to live is to suffer, is to die. That is a part of life. And with life comes death, and with death comes life. And so we say these old holy words. The word Kaddish means holy in Hebrew. And the Kaddish sounds like this. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah. B'yama tifrachiyute v'yamlich malchute b'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayede kol beit Yisrael b'gala b'zman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah mevarach li'olam omei omaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yirmam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechimata d'yamivan b'yama v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlamai rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom v'imramav. Huya aseh shalom. Aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'imramav. Huya aseh shalom aleinu v'yachol Yisrael v'imru. V'imru. Amen. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for that lovely little rose. It's very sweet of you. I will see you all here tomorrow to say these words once more. Until then, I hope you have a very lovely day. And, yeah. See you tomorrow morning. Farewell, friends.